Let's talk about something absolutely critical. Our hospitals are under constant digital attack. So how do we protect what matters most? Patient safety. Well, today we're going to break down the security revolution that's designed to do exactly that.
Here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the sheer scale of the threat that hospitals are up against. Then, we're going to demystify this powerful idea called zero trust. After that, we'll walk through the 5-step playbook for actually putting it into practice. And to wrap it all up, we'll see what this new era of security really means for patient care.
Okay, so let's dive right in. To really get a grip on the solution, we first have to understand the scale of the problem. And make no mistake, this isn't just some technical issue. It is a direct threat to people's lives.
Just look at that number, $10.92 million. I mean, that is a staggering figure. But this isn't just about the money, right? Every single dollar spent on fixing a breach, every minute a system is down, that's time and resources a hospital can't spend on its actual mission, saving lives.
And this is why hospitals are such a huge target. Patient records are literally a pot of gold for cybercriminals. They've got everything: financial details, social security numbers, deeply personal health information. A breach here doesn't just put your privacy at risk, it can actually compromise your safety if that data gets changed or a doctor can't access it.
So you can see, with stakes this high, the old way of thinking about security, it just doesn't cut it anymore. We need a whole new philosophy. And that philosophy is called zero trust. The name really says it all, doesn't it? Zero trust operates on one simple but incredibly powerful assumption. Trust nothing and no one automatically. It doesn't matter who you are or what device you're using. Every single request to access data has to be verified every single time.
This slide just illustrates the difference perfectly. Think about it. The old security model was like a medieval castle, big, strong walls and a deep moat. Once you got inside, you were considered trusted, and you could pretty much roam free. Zero trust? Totally different. It assumes the bad guys might already be inside, so it puts a security checkpoint, a guard asking for your ID, at every single door in every hallway inside the castle.
So that brings us to the crucial question. How does a hospital actually build this modern internal fortress? Well, it isn't a single product you just go out and buy. It's a whole strategy, and it's implemented in 5 key stages.
And this is the roadmap. You start with inventory. You got to know what's on your network. Then you segment it. You build those internal walls to stop threats from spreading. Next up is access, making sure people only have the keys they truly need. From there, you monitor everything, all the time for weird behavior. And finally, you protect the data itself. So let's break each of those down.
Right. Step 1. You can't protect what you can't see. It's that simple. So the first thing to do is become a kind of digital cartographer. You have to map out every single device connected to the network. And this is so critical because attackers just love to hide in the blind spots. On old, unpatched medical machines or even personal phones connected to the hospital's Wi-Fi.
Okay, once you know what's on your network, you start dividing it up. This is called microsegmentation. Basically, you're creating these tiny, isolated security zones around different devices or apps. The analogy here is perfect. It's like the watertight compartments on a big ship. If one part of the ship gets a hole, the water is contained. It can't flood and sink the whole vessel. Same idea here. If a virus hits the billing department, it's trapped there and can't spread to, say, the heart monitors in the ICU.
Next up, you make sure everyone only has the digital keys they absolutely need to do their job, and nothing more. A doctor needs to see patient records, obviously, but they have no reason to be in the hospital's financial systems. A contractor who's there to fix an MRI machine, they get access to that machine, and that's it. This principle of least privilege dramatically shrinks the amount of damage a stolen password can do. Now this slide, this really shows the monumental challenge hospitals are facing. A staggering 80% are working with outdated legacy systems. And here's the thing, you can't just unplug a $10 million MRI machine because it's running old software. This is exactly why zero trust isn't just a nice to have for healthcare, it's pretty much the only way forward. It lets you build a modern security cage around that older, vulnerable equipment that you just can't replace.
So, let's play out a scenario. Picture this, a 10-year-old diagnostic machine that usually only talks to internal hospital servers suddenly tries to send data to some random address out on the internet. In a zero-trust system, that is a huge, flashing red flag. So the alarm bells are going off. The system has spotted something that is definitely not right. What does it do?
And this is the magic of it. It doesn't wait for a human to see an alert.
The system automatically, instantly quarantines that machine. It just cuts it off from the rest of the hospital network. The potential threat is neutralized in seconds, before it can do any real damage.
And we always have to remember what's being protected. A single patient record can go for as much as $250 on the dark web. Now multiply that by thousands, or even millions of patients, and you see why protecting the data itself is the final, absolutely critical piece of this puzzle. So this final step means knowing what data is most sensitive, encrypting it so it's just gibberish if it gets stolen, and constantly watching for any weird activity. And, crucially, it also means having secure, unchangeable backups. So if the worst happens, like a ransomware attack, the hospital can actually get back online fast without losing that critical information. Okay, so when you put all of these 5 steps together, what do you really get? Well, it's a lot more than just a collection of security tools. It's a fundamental shift in how we even think about cybersecurity. And that's really the bottom line here. Look, no system is ever going to be 100% perfect. Breaches can and probably will still happen. Zero Trust is about building resilience. It accepts that threats are a reality, and instead focuses on minimizing the damage, making sure the hospital can keep doing its life-saving work, no matter what's happening on the network. It's about ensuring a cyber attack stays a containable IT problem and never, ever becomes a patient care catastrophe.
So that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We've seen just how vital this approach is for our hospitals. So, what about our power grids, our banking systems? What about all the smart devices in our own homes? The principles we've talked about today might just be the future of security for all of us.